Hello, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to the channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching and listening right now in the podcast. Today is Thursday, October the 8th, 2026. I'm here to give you an update regarding the death of Spencer and Monique Tepi that happened in Ohio last week. This is the dentist that was found dead in his house last week, and the children were basically unharmed, but they woke up to finding their parents being unalive in the bathroom. And this happened, like I said, in Ohio. So before I continue, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who is listening right now using Spotify. Don't forget to follow me there. And you can also leave a comment. Also, everybody who's watching this video right now on YouTube, thank you guys so much for being here. This is another mystery about this case. I believe I came 2 days ago and told you the new update regarding the death of Spencer and Monique Tepi was that in April of 2025, there was a call for help that she placed. I believe it was her. They haven't now released the name of the female who called, but assuming it came from that residency, and it came over during the overnight hours from that residency, and she said, me and my man got into it. I am assuming that is Monique who called authorities for help. And like I said, this happened in April 2025, right? Now that was an update, and people are debating. Online there's a lot of discussion being made about this case because there is a surveillance video of somebody leaving the home during the early hours, right, when it happened. But you think about it, everybody speaks so well of all of the couple, right? And they say they always seem so happy. But as we know it, we really don't know what's goes on in people's home, right? And you would think somebody harm themselves and then they harm the other person. But the big mystery is once again that there is no weapon that was found, right? So no weapon was found, no forced entry, right? And the children were unharmed. Thanks be to God for the children not being harmed at all. So there was no money taken. Like, it didn't seem like it was a robbery either. So that's the big mystery, right? And now the big update is this, that a neighbor is finally coming through. Because I remember saying on my previous video regarding this case, I was like, where are the neighbors? How come nobody's speaking? The houses seem to be very close by, and these are a very expensive home, right? And usually in the age of technology that we live in, people have security cameras. How come there isn't like a clear video or a neighbor saying, I know them, right? They tend to, you can hear screaming and fighting during the overnight hours. They're known for that. And the reason that I'm saying that is because the call that was placed to authorities, and the police had to call back again back in April and saying, we got a call from you. It was a hang up call. Is everything okay there? And Monique seems to be just crying and crying, saying, I'm okay, I'm just emotional, right? The timing of that call also seems to be during the overnight hours, right? And the killing and the surveillance video shows that a person living during the overnight hours. And now there's another thing connecting this to the same time frame, right? And let me tell you what's going on. So it says here that um, a woman um, a woman living on the same street as them had called authorities on December 19, 2025, just 11 days before the killing happened. And the female said that she called the 911 number claiming that somebody was banging on her door at 2:31 in the morning. Right? I feel like in this case that hour seemed to be the after 2 a.m. hour. is connecting this case a lot, right? And we know that we have our routines, right? We humans have our routine. But 2 a.m., most of us, right, we are like sleeping, right? What is going on? What goes on there? What is the routine that they had after 2 a.m.? I'm not saying right now that therapists are connected to this call of a neighbor saying somebody was banging on the door at 2:30 a.m., but that information, because of the time that it came on, is very telling of maybe it was connected to them. Who knows, right? Because obviously, a lot of these calls that are coming in, well, we have the two calls, right? Well, the surveillance video of somebody leaving the or walking down the street, right? We have the surveillance video around the same time frame, and then the call that happened in April of 2025. It seems to have happened around the same time, right? So it leads me to believe somebody in that street has a routine of being awake after 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. to do something specifically, you know. And somebody banging on her door to the point, obviously, I think most of us will be calling the cops if somebody's banging on our door that we don't know after 2 a.m., right? So here's what happened. The woman said that somebody was smashing on my door, and I think they're trying to get in. They're banging on the door. She said to the 911 operator that she didn't know who was at the door and she couldn't see them. She couldn't see them, so she didn't have a description of them. She also said she hadn't asked them if they wanted or needed anything. Records obtained stated that the problem left at 2:44 a.m. The incident occurred a 3-minute walk up from the street from the Tepes home. So, and sometimes you you have to be careful what you say about this. But another thing that I noticed, I saw another creator, another YouTuber, go and walk down that street, right? And the news has basically told us the moment this news broke about the dentist found shot in their house, they always mention how expensive the house is, right? $700,000 home. And I thought that to be interesting because um I don't know why they kept saying the price of the home, right? And then, like I said, a YouTuber was doing a walk through that street the other day. And in my observation, just my pure opinion here, my honest opinion was, it didn't seem like that type of neighborhood for a house like that to be like, it was just surprising. Like, that is the outside, like that is the outside of that neighborhood. That's what it looks like. That's what I thought immediately, like once I saw it. And I don't know if you thought the same. Maybe you haven't seen any videos from that street, but I connected that, and then I also thought, it's very interesting that the news emphasized a lot the way they phrased this story. This crime was a dentist was found dead with the wife on this $700,000 home or something like this, right? And people were saying, why they have to mention the price of the home, right? And now, I think that was important because when I look at the area, it didn't seem like, I don't know, maybe it's just, and I've never been there either. But it's just like, what, really? But anyways, and then we have now this neighbor from up the road saying that 11 days before they found the dentist dead, and Monique, right, and the wife, she got somebody banging on her door at 2:41 a.m. Now, how terrifying is that, right? That you get so scared to the point that you call for help, but you live in the same neighborhood, you live in that same street, and somebody's showing up to your door at that time, banging on your door, and like, how crazy is it that there's no description of the person, right? You have no idea like who they were, what they needed. I'm not saying that the person should have uh, open the door and ask, nothing like that, but isn't it terrifying because now you don't even know who's trying to break in? And once again, where are the video cameras from the neighbors, right? These houses obviously cost a lot of money. How come there's no ring video from anybody saying, oh yeah, they came to knock on my door too, right? Because as we know, when people are calling out for help, especially when the houses are right next to each other, if they don't open this door, let me knock on the next door, right? So no other neighbors coming forward and saying anything. It seems as though to me that neighborhood, like I said, if there's some type of secrecy going on, like I don't understand. Maybe people don't want to get involved, but if you're looking to help people out, it says a lot. Also, what I said on my previous video was that the operator that took the call from a lot of the co-workers were saying things like, "Oh, has anything changed? We've been getting a lot of calls reporting the same thing." And people thought that was a little cold. But I did emphasize that maybe that operator kind of knew already that they tend to get calls from that address or from that house, and usually it's just a false alarm thing, right? So I think which I think it prompted her to react that way, like, oh, has anything changed? We keep getting calls like that. I'm not saying they got the call that day, but now we have that call that surfaced from April where Monique called asking for help and then said, she actually hung up and they had to call her back and say, is everything okay there? And she's like, oh, no, no, I'm just emotional, right? So it's just another big mystery. Now we have a neighbor up the road saying somebody was banging on my door around 2:30 a.m. 11 days before they got murdered. And you know you, the amount of information coming from like a neighbor, usually I know we think about cases that became very popular, like the Chris Watts and Shannon Watts, right? You will see like people, the neighbor coming out and speaking and saying, yeah, and especially houses that are so close by. I haven't seen neighbors say anything. Maybe you can leave a comment if you have. I haven't seen anybody say, these people, they're usually walking down the street after 2 a.m. I don't know what they're doing, or there's something funky going on. And, something happens overnight, they get some type of guests coming in. One observation that somebody said to was that they believe, some people say the reason there was no weapon could have been the family member who got there before everything, you know, before the police got there. Let's just say he removed the weapon because they didn't want the kids to grow up knowing that something like, if that the weapon was found and their parents were both there, right? And there was no forced entry. Um, Another thing we have to understand is that smart lock at the front door, somebody knew the code, right? And then I was thinking, um, was it a robbery? I said like maybe it was a delivery man who didn't get tipping, right, and came back afterwards, or who knows, right? But again, what is the video camera? What is the window camera? And they saying, well, it's very unusual for them to have been found on the second floor bedroom, right? But you think about it, somebody's walking in to grab you, let's just say, and they have a gun or something. They're, let's go to the safe in the bedroom or something, and everything happened there, right? So nobody in the neighborhood had heard any gunshots. Nobody saw anybody suspicious passing by. So I really hope that people come forward and speak. I'm glad that this call is reported saying, 11 days prior, somebody was banging on my door after 2:30. So maybe looking at their phones, text messages, Google searches, they can get some information to see who was the last person contacting them, who did they last spoke with, right? Another thing was that the prompt response from the office that he works in, people were questioning how come that happened so fast, right? Everybody was calling for somebody to go and check on them. And it could be that they were instructed to do that. If I don't show up on time, just call, reach out for me or something. Also, it could be that he has a full panel of patients waiting for him. And if he's late, it's a lot of people. He's responsible for a lot of things, right, in that office, obviously. So we need to know if he's coming or not. But it was just, too many people involved, meaning that business partner, office manager, like co-workers, and they're calling, like maybe there was something that was said. Maybe they have a case pending. It could be so many things, right? Or it could be also that, maybe they're not going to share everything out, right? It could be some type of threat that they received from somebody. They were looking to do whatever. It could be so many things, right? It could be an angry, pending, patient that was threatening to do something, right? And these days, people find your information everywhere. It's crazy. There's no privacy really. So it could be so many things. I really hope that. I think the key to this case, there's no weapon found yet, right? I think the key to this case is gonna be a neighbor, right? A neighbor who knows exactly what happened and who knows exactly, like, after 2 a.m., right? It tends to be very quiet after 2 a.m. normally in neighborhoods, right? So a loud noise or people like screaming at each other or something will call attention to a lot of people, not just one person. So hopefully people come out and start speaking. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. And like I always say, if there's any update, you can just leave a comment. Let me know what the update is. It seems to me as though that this case is changing very fast. So we'll see. Thank you guys so much for coming to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's watching and listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless.